Welcome back, folks, to part two of tonight's segment. Topic tonight is Favlave. So just to recap of what we talked about in part one, we went around and individually we talked about what Favlave means to us and what Favlave is to us. We also talked about where we draw that line when it comes to Saonga Kupe and stuff like that, where we have to help out the person that holds the title within the family. By giving them money and stuff like that to help out with the Favlave. Now we're talking about the envelopes portion of the Favlave. Who gets the envelope? Should they get an envelope? So that's what we left off from part one. So I wanted to give this opportunity to Tan to talk about how he feels about the Keukusi portion of Favlaves.
So I believe that today's society, especially with the Samoan culture, we've changed. Nowadays, we just give envelopes to Favlaves because it's more convenient and it's easy. But I disagree with giving a certain amount of people envelopes because the amount of debt that it puts the family in, especially if you have an X amount of pastors showing up. I do not agree with giving every single pastor envelopes because I've been to Favlaves where 4 to 6 pastors show up and I know that they show support, and it's all, I know it's support and it's all culture, but I think the pastors should turn around and give it back to the family that's suffering. What is the use of supporting a family if you're contributing to their suffering, right? Their loved one has died and now they're turning around and they're basically giving you the money that they need to bury their loved ones, right? So that is my perspective. I don't agree with during Favlaves, especially funerals. Birthdays, other ceremonies are fine, but funerals, I don't agree with families handing out envelopes to almost everyone in the village.
Okay, so is it only pastors, or does that apply to all the other Makais getting envelopes as well?
I don't agree to giving it to multiple Matais unless it's like a village Matai. If Matais from other villages are supporting, they should be giving their money to the family instead of the family treating those Matais. Because I know Samoan culture is about love, it's about family. But like I mentioned before, what's the use of all that if you're ending up making that family suffer in debt?
So how would you feel if we were to go that route? Would that come off as disrespectful?
I think it'll be very disrespectful to the Samoan culture because everyone wants to be acknowledged. Everyone wants to, basically acknowledge of their efforts that are showing support. So I don't think that way of giving envelopes to pastors and Matais will go away. But yeah, I disagree with it.
Okay, so do you think that's the whole purpose why these other families bring CEs? It's that sole purpose of getting something in return.
No.
I know the culture is beautiful and it's all in good spirit, but you feel sometimes maybe that's why there's CEs from the outside is because they also they're bringing stuff, so they're also expecting to take stuff back with them?
I believe that everyone is good-natured, right? No one has bad intentions. But the way that our culture is structured, that's where things are in the gray area. I'll call it the gray area, where things are misinterpreted, And now it's become I would call it a habit too. It's become a habit that other people see and they want to imitate it, right? So culture evolves. It either evolves in a bad way or it evolves in a good way. So
I'm going to do the big old E7 line on that one real quick, JP. Just to piggyback off of what Michael was saying. I believe that people don't go to these, they don't bring their CEs expecting anything in return. But there's a certain standard now. So it's a trend. It's a social trend. You go to this Father Love, this family's Father Love, this village's Father Love, and you see how their Father Love was done, and say it was done with everybody getting a portion, everybody gets a slice of the pie, and you think, oh, that was so nice of them because you got a slice of the pie, you went home with something, and so then you want to emulate it, and the trend just moves. And I think a lot of people who are conscious of other family situations, when they go to these Father Loves, they don't go there expecting something, but there is an expectation of what should and what has been happening. And so
that's a good point. So do you feel like it would be disrespectful to not accept an envelope? Because I feel like a lot of these Matais, they might have the same beliefs as us. So they go there with good intention. They're not looking to bring something back with them. So it kind of puts them
the funny thing about that, JP, is I've seen with my own eyes, because I have a lot of Faifiaus in my dad's side family. Several of them are Faifiaus. And so I've seen them, and there are plenty of times, like I've seen my uncle, he shows up to these Father Laves that I've been, and he owns a church out in Georgia, in Augusta, Georgia. He's been a pastor there for over 20 years in his little congregation, and they're slowly growing for years. And I've seen him show up to these Father Laves, and he shows up because he's related. He's the family. Those are the only times I was there. And more often than not, I've seen him where they give him his gilkushi. He gets his gilkushi, and not just the gilkushi. He'll also get a place at the top with a big old platter of food, lobster and everything, and then a case of this and a case of that. And then after he accepts it, really grateful for the family. And then after everything's done, he goes to the back and he takes those cases of pisupo and pikaki, and he puts it back in the stack. And then he'll take that stack of money and either go and give it to so if it was a funeral, he'll go to the kids of the funeral and just give the money to them. If it was a parent or the grandparents, and he'll go and give the money to the children. And I've seen a lot of Faifiaus do this, or they'll give it back to the family behind the fact, and they would give them, let them show face to the public that they gave a gift to the Faifiao. And then the Faifiao will turn around and just give it right back to them behind closed doors. And so the family, essentially it's just to save face. And I know not all do it, because I've seen some Faifiaos go right outside, get in their cars, and they're gone. On to the next one. And a lot of times Makais do it too. And then depending on how high the Makai is, a lot of times he doesn't expect it, but it's just given to him. And
so it's cultural, to give. So it shows respect. Mm-hmm. So how do you guys feel about the level of Matai? So like how you were just talking about the different levels of Matai, because there is different level of Matais. There's the Paramount Chief, and then there's like the small Matais. How do you guys feel about? Because when you do Favlaves, you got the Paramount Chief, and he kind of delegates, to like different families, So your family brings this. You bring this amount of yekongas, this amount of cash, baelos, bisupo, and then you bring all this stuff in, and then collectively we take this to the family that's having the Favlave. At the end of that Favlave, who gets the envelope? The Paramount Chief.
The Paramount Chief.
Yeah. So a lot of times, and I'm not saying this about all Paramount Chiefs, a lot of time it stays with them. Some of that stuff that they bring back.
Only like 6 of them?
No,
there's only 6 Paramount Chiefs.
Well, yeah, but every family is different. Not every family has a Paramount Chief. But there's always that one, kind of like the main one, the main Matai, that kind of takes the reins and then collectively gets the family together and then take that seat. So whenever they get the stuff back, whenever they get that envelope back, is it fair to say that a lot of these high Matais or Paramount Chief, is it fair to say that they're dispersing this envelope amongst the family or not?
Well, let me cut in on you, Johnny. For that question, how you say, if it's right, like nowadays, like all the Samoan families, like when that envelope comes back and it goes to like the Paramount Chief, as you said, like it's expected, all the families that put in money together and gave it to the Paramount Chief to go through the CE, like they don't expect anything back because they already know that the Paramount Chief is gonna get the envelope back, and that's his money. Like our culture is so used to it that we don't question it no more. Like if the envelope goes to the Paramount Chief, oh well, because like how Tan said on the first episode, how if there's greed involved, then the family will question that envelope. But our culture is so used to it, like we don't care. If the Paramount Chief gets it, he gets it. No harm, no foul. But that's a problem. I like how you said, how he gets it. It's a problem. But we're so used to it that it doesn't really matter anymore. But from us,
So this is how it works. So there's always the one Makai who's in charge of like the whole city, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he reaches out to all the small Makais. They all bring in collectively and then they take it. So the family who's having the Favlave, their intent, they see this whole clan bringing stuff. So when they give that envelope, ultimately they're giving back to the entire clan. So my question is it fair to say that the front Makais that are receiving the envelopes, is it fair to say that they're dispersing this envelope amongst his clan, or are they pocketing this envelope?
Okay, I think you're speaking of. So usually it would be the high talking chief. So the Paramount Chief. There's only 6 Paramount Chiefs in American Samoa. The Paramount Chief are the highest. They're the chiefs over the entire district. Maunga for Pango. And then there's, you know what I mean? So there's only 6 of them. So when you guys say Paramount Chiefs, it was drawing me back.
So you're more knowledgeable when it comes to the culture. So I'm happy that you brought that up. Because I don't know. I'm involved in the Favlaves, but I don't know the rank structure, Yeah,
normally, so you have your village chief, okay? You have the Paramount Chief is in charge of the district. Maunga is in charge of Uchule down to, I believe it's Aku, or maybe a little bit further, maybe only more. But like that's the Paramount Chief. He's in charge of that entire area. So he's the biggest deal. And then you have your high talking chief and your orders. And I mix up the breakdown, but then you have your village chiefs, and the village chiefs it's kind of like how the structure is. You have your governor, then you have your mayors within each districts, and then you have your little the people that's involved with the city, and that's how it's kind of essentially broken down. So you have your village chief, and then you have your orders, and then you have your high talking chiefs, and you have your family chiefs. That's Makais for your family name, your last name, or just for your clan, for lack of a better word. I'm not as clear as it on. I just know that when you guys keep saying Paramount Chief, I was getting confused.
Yeah, so I'm probably using the wrong terminology. But what I was trying to get at is because these questions that people are asking, and they're not going to ask it, because a lot of these people don't want to offend people and they don't want to come off as disrespectful. So I'm bringing up.
Yeah, and I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, so not Paramount Chief
going on,
but like whoever
stuff. And then there's the chief of the last name, the chief of your family. There's the high chief of your family. There's the talking chief. Now, when you're saying like when they bring in all this, and usually the Makai gets the envelope, and 9 times out of 10 he keeps it, and essentially it just comes down to how much the family is willing to give to the Makai based on the culture, and it's probably a practice that we're not going to stop, and most families are still going to do it, because if they are a good Matai, that money is supposed to trickle back down to the family. If you're the village Matai, all monies he receives is supposed to trickle back down to the village. It's basically taxes. That money is supposed to take care of the village. It's also supposed to take care of the Matai as well, because if it's kind of like how the Faife'au system works as well. You know, the congregation donates their money and their time to house and to fund this church, and the Faife'au is involved with the church. And so that money is supposed to trickle up so that they're given their spiritual guidance. They're given a place of worship. They're given a structure to base their lives around. And so it's the same thing with our cultural system. That money is supposed to trickle down back into the family. It's supposed to aid the families in time of need. It's supposed to aid their Matai and increase their standing if they need be. But oftentimes that line gets blurred. It gets muddied somewhere in there to where the Makai is starting to have a nice car. And so now he shows up to every Falablavi because he's got a car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I appreciate, I just want to shed some light on that topic, you know, on that portion specifically. And you are right. And this does not apply to all Matais. Some Matais might be different. There might be some good Matais out there where they get the envelope and then they disperse amongst the clan, you know. But I just wanted to get your guys' view on it, you know, and it seems like you're very strong with the culture. So
For me, if you hold that title, you're supposed to be a leader. There is an expectation that you're supposed to. There's perks to everything, but you're a Matai. You're supposed to be the leader. You either lead your own family, or you lead a group of your family, or you lead the village, or you lead a whole section of the village or the whole section of the island. But if you say you're a Matai and you take that title, and you take those obligations and responsibilities and privileges, you're supposed to be the leader. So you're held to a higher standard. You're not just, oh, well, I didn't know, or I have bad credit and I was just trying to get myself back in good standing. No, you're supposed to be the example. Everyone looks to you. When there's times of need, when there's times of hardship, you look to the Matai. And so if you're going to be a Matai, you better be able to lead. And that's just ultimately what it comes down to. If you're going to accept that money, you're accepting it because people look up to you. They look to you for leadership. They look to you for guidance, and you better be able to do it. And if you are, the people will know, because the rumors, the gossip that flies around, it's a small island. It's a cesspool of drama.
Exactly. Everybody knows everybody's business down in Samoa.
So if you're going to be the leader, make sure that you're leading and people know that.
Yeah,
and
exactly. What's your take on it, Manu? Because I know Manu comes from a big family. Because back in 2009 we were talking and we found out we're somehow related. So what's your take? What's your take on that piece?
Like I said, you know, I haven't been in a lot of funeral. I've been to one, if I remember. When my grandma passed away, that was the only funeral I went to. But other than that, I like I said, I try to stay away from, you know, Falablavis. Not that I don't want to support my family, but it's just me. You know, I don't want to get involved in a lot of things when they say, oh, we have to pitch in. Or you're gonna have to come up with this, with that, you know. That's when I disagree with. I think if we have Falablavis, it should be only a family, not Faife'au, not the High Chief, not nobody, just a family itself. And you know, I wanted to ask Fatu something, because he keeps saying the culture is you know, with the Faife'au being there at the funeral, is that part of our culture?
Yeah, I think
Because I remember back then, this is way before we were introduced to like church and you know, Bible or man of God. I'm pretty sure we did the funeral without the officials. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think because we're such God-fearing people, and like every village you go to, there's like 3-4 churches in every village. You know, everybody's Christian. Like I said, and I keep pointing it out, his seal, our seal, American Samoa seal, Samoa Momoletua. So I think it's more of a respecting, not necessarily the Faifeau itself, but he's representing God. So you want God involved in the Fablavi, especially if it's a funeral. You know, you want to start with God, end with God, and who better to represent God, like the pastors, you know. So I feel like that's where Fatu was going, and that's what he was trying to explain.
Yeah.
So it's more so.
Understand, and I do understand that they are there to support the family. But like what Ten was saying earlier, you know, if you're that, you know, good of a you know, you don't do it in front of people, but you kind of do it on the side and be like,
yeah,
hey,
behind closed doors, and that's what Johnny brought up too. So it's not only Faifeaus. It's Matais too. So Faifeaus, Macais, they all get envelopes. Everybody
I feel like whenever we have a Falabeloved now that we're putting so much effort and this and that into our family, and then next thing you know, other people are taking the money away from this family. Now they got the envelope, right? But what about the family? Now, you know, I'm not talking about the parents, our parents, because I know they're going to be asking us for help. You know what I mean? So now,
so it's culture.
This is what we're doing. We're giving them the money.
And that's what we're discussing right now. Yeah. It's
your dad is going to represent your side of the family, but leave you with nothing, and you have kids and your family, that, you know, your wife. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I'm pretty sure a lot of our viewers would agree with that. You know, it's such a burden, especially being out here. You have Samoa, you own the land. You know, the family own the land. You don't pay mortgage.
Yeah. So that's why I disagree with a lot of things about our culture. And I feel like if we ever to have any Falabeloveds, I think it's just only for the family, only
immediate family members. Is what you're trying to say.
Close ones. You know, if like I said,
totally understandable.
If I don't know you, I'm not putting in on that. Nope.
Yeah,
you totally call me.
I just gotta have my phone off. I'll vibrate. Never answer.
So I kind of understand where Manu's coming from, but let's go back in a day where religion was not present, right? Religion was introduced to Samoa by the white folks, right? So before religion, Falabeloved, when someone dies in a village, we didn't have refrigeration back in the day to put someone in the morgue. So the bodies were like in a family room for a few days, and people from the village would come and bring their seeds, right? And back in the day, there were no pastors, no religion. What happened was when religion was introduced to us, our culture incorporated religion, and that's how religion has evolved. So originally, giving money to pastors was not a thing, but now it is a thing because all cultures evolve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great point, Tan. I appreciate that. I learned something today, so I appreciate you bringing that up. So I got a question for T. If I know you say your dad was handing over the title, but if let's just say your dad just sat there and all of a sudden he's like, you know what, I'm not going to pass my title off to this family member. Maybe I'm going to give it to my son. So how would you take that? Would you accept that title and take on the responsibility of that title? Like, how would you go about
Yeah, Chief T.
If he, if we really sat down and he, schooled me on the history and everything, not just the history of the role, but our family history, and told me why, he took it on and the responsibilities he had and responsibilities he sees me needing to carry on. Then if I saw the importance and the weight that carried, if I felt the same way he did, I would take it on.
Knowing everything that we talked about tonight in this segment, would you still take on that role?
For the most part, like I said, if I felt the same way, if I could see it through his eyes and interpret it with what I know and what he would just teach me, then I would. But I can't guarantee that I'd carry on the role the way others would expect me to. If I see something's wrong and I don't agree, I will say something. Wrong is wrong, no matter what. People have a way of twisting things, and because I was a dirtbag growing up, I had to have a way of reading into that. That saying is true, it takes one to know one, and it sucks I had to be bad, but because of that disobedience growing up, I'm able to see those things, and if I ended up taking that role and I saw wrong, I would highlight it and I would not move.
So what would you change? Because I know you didn't grow up in Samoa, but we did. And okay, I'm just waiting for Manu to finish his little song. But having lived through it, kind of threw me off track there. Thanks, bro. So just like from sitting on the sideline and listening to everybody and everybody talking about what they've been through, the struggles. I don't want to make it sound like it's a horrible thing.
Yeah.
But it kind of does sound like if you weren't really involved with the culture, it does come off as like this horrible responsibility you have to take on and the tradition, So what would you change about it? What would you want to see different?
So let me start with saying this. Most of the people our age, even a little bit older, even a little bit younger, through all the ages, one of the biggest problems they have with our culture is this. Mm-hmm. I've been aware of what it was, but I just didn't want to try to say it off top and just sound like, the ignorant person I am, but
it's on TikTok. Go look at all the videos of the polys are making. They make fun of the same thing,
all across the board. This is the biggest problem is the greed of people when it comes to this aspect. And if anything I would change, I would just want to hold people accountable to take on the role that they're supposed to. Like Johnny said, like the trickle down effect, hold them accountable to that. Make people see the actual results that they're supposed to see, the help, the improvements from the contributions, of others' charity and helpfulness. That would be my biggest thing.
Awesome. Man, well, I appreciate everybody's input, man. I've learned a lot tonight, and I'm pretty sure you guys learned a lot as well. If there's any last-minute comments, Fatu, or anything you want to touch on or talk about, it's your chance. No, nothing else, President? You got something you want to talk about before we end this?
We can talk about it and say this and that, but at the end of the day, once your parents hit you up and say, hey, pitch in for this fellow, love you real quick, I'm pretty sure everyone's gonna be here you go.
Yeah, here you go. Hey, sorry.
By text return.
Yeah, right.
I know. Just don't let them know that you got your text. Just say you owe money instead of receiving money.
I said I want to admit it, yeah.
'Cause I'm just a teenager, baby.
Just gotta tell them you're broke.
Make sure we plug that on our background music. That song right there.
Are we looking for a background music?
Yeah, there we go.
What y'all it? What y'all it? What you were talking about? I had something to go with that question you said, like where we draw the line from the last episode. What you call it? I don't know.
Well,
if
you
guys-
decided to go all the way back there?
Yeah,
Again?
yeah. Because what you call it? Because I just thought about something about that question. I don't know if you guys had this discussion already with your kids, or with your spouse. I mean, not your kids, your spouse, on where you draw the line. Me and my wife, me and her talked, and we already drew the line. Like me and her are the last generation.
Last of the Mohicans?
Yeah, the last of the Mohicans for our Samoan tradition and culture. Like, our kids are not going to be involved in any of those things. Like, they're citizens, so they're going to live the American dream and, not be involved in the Samoan culture at all. Like, anything that involves, like, funerals, like Fablaves, or anything that has to do with the Matai, like my kids will learn about it, but they will not be involved. Like, because I don't want them to feel like they're supposed to do what our culture wants them to do. Like, I want them to do their own thing. I don't want them to be involved. So, like, when me and my wife pass away, or when I pass away, like, I'm not gonna have that whole Samoan traditional. Now I'm getting cremated. Throw my ashes in the street of Vegas. Probably on the ship. Have my boys walk around, go.
I agree.
People will get arrested.
Like they're what y'all.
No, that's a pretty good point that Fatu brought up. No, it's important to talk with our spouse, but it's also important to talk about it with our kids.
Yep. And I do agree
wanna,
with what Fatu was saying. And, just a little add up on Fatu's side, I even talked to my wife, even my parents. I told my parents I'm not going to get involved in it. If it's like what I said, if it's someone that I know, then I'll help you guys out. But if I don't know that person, I'm out, But with the kids, I am, my daughter knows how to speak Samoan, and I'm trying to do the same thing for my son. That doesn't mean that I am gonna teach them the Samoan way, but I'm not gonna have them involved in the Falavelavas or any of that.